Welcome back, Source Nation. You're listening live to Can We Talk by Master Relationship Coach Myra McKnight.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Myra McKnight with Can We Talk. I am so grateful and so thankful to have you all here with me today. And also, more than anything, I am grateful to have you allow me to come into your space today. We have an amazing show for you today. I have an amazing young lady who has some fire. She's spirited. She's standing on her own 2 feet. She's been through some things, but you know what? She is standing firm, and her name is Jenny Christian. She has a YouTube video and productions coming out, and it's called Filled, Healed, and Restored. And I'm looking so much forward to having that conversation with her. Just looking at what she does online is truly, truly amazing. And before I go any further, let me do this. Let me give homage to our wonderful, sponsors here. And that's Paper to Film Productions, Revolutionary Mills, Scott's Cares Foundation, Urban Grandstand Digital, Meet My Type Matchmaking, Blend to Blend Juice Bar Boutique, Ren Ovations, and New Covenant of Praise Worship Center. We thank them so much for allowing us to be here on this platform with Source Nation family. Again, this is Myra McKnight, your powerful, wonderful, exciting, and amazing empowerment and relationship coach. I want you to be the best you can possibly be. Your work for today is amazing. You are that. Always know that, believe that, even in your darkest hour. And I don't want to say your darkest hour. I said that to my husband yesterday. Or maybe your brownest hour. Maybe it's not so dark. Maybe it's brown. Maybe it's beige. Whatever color it is, make it the best that you can possibly make it be. Don't let anybody tell you you're not amazing, because then they're telling you that God made a mistake. And we all know that that is not what God does. God does not make mistakes. So on the other side of this, on the break, I'm going to have in the studio with me Jenny Christian, amazing young lady, and we're going to talk about some of the wonderful things she's doing. And again, stay tuned, stay there, and I'll be right back.
Source Nation, stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're listening live to Can We Talk by Master Relationship Coach Myra McKnight.
Source Radio Network is just one of the many platforms that is used to fulfill dreams of our listeners and create a purpose that will impact the lives of our communities, cities, and the world. It is often said that great things will happen when a group of driven people work together to accomplish one goal. We're giving people the opportunity to have a voice, translate words that haven't been heard, and paint pictures that no one has seen. Source Radio Network is fueling your life's purpose. How can you listen? www.blogtalkradio.com/Source Radio.
I woke up one morning, I was feeling so all alone. No one was there. You didn't even answer And you reply, Kimberly, I'm always here, right by your side. I will never leave you or forsake you. I love you. Oh, Jesus, I long for you to carry me through. What shall I do?
Welcome back, Source Nation. You're listening live to Can We Talk by Master Relationship Coach Myra McKnight.
Hello, Source Nation. Thank you for returning with me. This is Myra McKnight, your Master Relationship Coach here. And as I said before, we're going to have
Jenny Christian,
who is my guest today. And I am truly glad to have her as my guest. I am very proud to be in her space and witness some of the great things that she's doing. And I'm going to let her talk about that.
Hello, Jenny.
Hi, Myra. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. We got some sunshine here in Chicago today, so I'm fine.
You are fine. I'm telling you, and Chicago is an amazing place. I miss Chicago. My hometown is St. Louis, so we're kind of like neighbors.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I've still never been to St. Louis yet, but I always tell people that when I go, the first place I need to go is Sweetie Pie's because I love that show. I love food.
I like being down there on that magnificent mile in Chicago. I mean, it's a beautiful city, and it's definitely a place that everybody in the world should be able to visit at some time or another. So it's an amazing place to be. And speaking of amazing, you are an amazing lady, and you're doing some wonderful things. Let's talk about some of the things that you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, you are on Can We Talk on Source Nation platform. We got some ladies that are going to hear what you have to say. And I did get a chance to look at your video, short chance to look at your video, and you were talking about coming from the corporate arena and going into your passion and what you love and how things got in the way and things of that nature, which that is life, and that's what life does best than anything. So let's talk about what you do. I just want to give you that platform and talk about what you do and how it can help us all.
Well, what I do now is try to create content in which inspires people to always hope in God when they're going through difficult situations, just because when I went through what I was going through, it was very difficult, and sometimes you hit a rock bottom that's so low when you feel like there's no reason to be here because clearly dreams aren't going to come true. Like, this is all a waste. This is pointless. And I knew that if I had been there, other people had been there. And that's a place I never want anyone to go and not have any resource to come to for hope. Because once you lose your hope, you have nothing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's so true. You have to have something to believe in, and you have to have something to hold on to. And it's unfortunate that I hate the fact that we have to go through those things to come to the realization, but the things that we go through actually pushes us into that space. You know, you don't want to repeat those things, and that's what we have to learn from is not having to repeat them. But you're so true about that hope part. You got to have something to hold on to, and sometimes it's a long time coming. Would you agree?
Very much so. Very much so. And it was such an eye-opening experience because sometimes it's hard for us to empathize with certain people. Even if we could show a bit of compassion, sometimes it's hard to genuinely empathize if we haven't been there before. And that's one of the reasons I believe I had to kind of experience some of these things, because I tell people all the time that I hit a low where I then understood why people don't want to be here anymore. You know, in points where, you know, train tracks look very tempting to you. You know, I remember one day, even during this process, I had walked, because I didn't have any money and I was still trying to, you know, just interview different places, and I walked, and it was cold. It was cold in Chicago, and I walked from my house to the interview place for maybe 7.5 miles in the cold, in my snow boots. And by the time I got there, I still, you know, I ended up getting that job, but it was such a crazy experience. And then, you know, I'm still trying to get through that week because, of course, you have orientation and things like that. And I didn't have any money to really waste. And so one day it was orientation day, and I had to get down there. So I'm like, man, I got to spend my last little $250 or whatever to get down here. And when I got down to Myra, it was the wrong day. And I was just again, and so I remember calling my friend, and I'm like, I just want to throw myself in front of a bus. Like, what is this? You know, part of the reason I had to go through so much of this stuff was to realize what those lows are like, and to know I didn't need anybody anybody to get there, ever.
Yeah. Those kind of days can be really difficult, Jenny. I remember some days like that, and I felt like just, matter of fact, I had actually I just kind of crawled up in a fetus position, and I was just done. And I couldn't understand for the life of me how can you have your faith walk, and it was tested every step of the way. And, and it just felt like it was over. You're like, what am I here for? This is crazy.
Right. That is so true. You really do. You feel like, what is the point in all of this? Like, no, someone's lying.
Absolutely.
Either this word is lying to me, somebody's lying, you know.
And I had actually believed that for a long, long time. I couldn't turn right, and I couldn't, and it was, you built up resentment and frustration and agitation, and it's like, I'm one of these persons, not to toot your own horn, but just like, I'm a decent person, and I guess I had to realize the point, it wasn't about being a decent person at all, and it's a hard thing to have to deal with, but I think that, and everybody doesn't have that type of walk, Jenny, and everybody doesn't have to go through it, but I think those persons that have, they got the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's crazy because for a long time, I always knew that whatever I wanted to do, I wanted to impact people. But for a long time, I really didn't have a story to share. And I feel like, it was one of those things where it's like, well, if this is what you want to do, there's a storm you're going to have to walk through. There's a group for you, and there's a storm you're going to have to go through to get to them. And so that's ultimately what I feel like was taking place. And now, at that time, it was so confusing because not only am I feeling frustrated in just life and in my faith, but I was getting mad. I was getting mad at God. I was getting mad at prophets or whomever. Like, don't you tell me, don't you dare be in this business. I'm sitting here like, that is a lie.
Yeah, I agree with you, my dear. I had to say the same words, and I got to the point where if anybody tried to tell me something about hold on and have faith, and I could probably punch him out. So I do understand exactly what you're saying, and that's why I have empathy and sympathy for people who are going through, and my best in my heart is to encourage them and where they are. I don't try to press the envelope in that area because you just don't know what a person's walk has looked like and what stage they're in at that point.
Right. You definitely don't want to, overwhelm them with any sort of scriptures or anything. And sometimes you can still have the best intentions at heart. And I because I even feel in mind. Sometimes people, they just didn't know what to say. So they're going to say what they know from the best of their experiences, which isn't helpful to you at all. In fact, like you said, it's on, you want to punch them, like, give me one more positive quote when I'm going through this, all right? Like, I don't want to hear another quote. I do not want to hear another quote.
And that's true. And, I love your energy. I love that you're being transparent and you're being honest. And most of us, especially in the Christian world, are not honest. And I think in having that lack of honesty, it just, it doesn't make for a good witness, because you do feel withdrawn and you do feel lost and you do feel alienated and you do feel alone. And giving those words, sometimes it's just best to give a smile or give a hug, or give a Coke and leave it alone,
Yes. Very true. And that's an excellent point because being newly back into, at that time, newly back into growing and building my relationship and trying to fight my way through the storm, it's like the last thing I needed was to come across spiritual elitists, trying to tell me where's my faith and, and all these other things. And it's like, well, where's your godly love? Because I'm sure God would give it to me, in this moment.
Yeah. I don't think people realize that the hurt and discomfort when they say things like that. They almost take it personal, But how are you? And I know that you're doing some episodes and series. So how are you bringing about this thought process of realness and being real with where you stand in your storm? How are you relaying that and getting that over today and what you're doing now?
Well, what I believe my initial goal with creating it and what I truly feel God put on my heart was to create a place that everyday people could find hope in him, that it could be relatable. So I knew I didn't want it to be overly religious. I knew I didn't want it to be something that seemed like, oh, this is only for believers. I knew that I wanted it to be, you know, a show that you could go to and not feel like, oh, you're talking to the motherboard. You know what I mean? I wanted it to be
absolutely. Right.
versatile. I wanted people from all backgrounds, all genres of work, all ethnicities being there and giving the realness of their different stories. Because like you said before, everyone hasn't gone through my story, so I know that they could probably connect to some other stories. There's going to be something that can get you and where you can find hope, because now you have someone who's been there and come out.
Right, absolutely. They've been through a true fire. And everybody's not able to go through the true fire. You might have some people that's gone through some things, but and I know through what you're doing, you've probably seen some people, you'll be like, dang, it's almost like the difference between a woman having actual labor pains and having an actual C-section.
Yes.
You still got the baby, but it's totally different how the baby got here. So you don't feel the same pain or the frustration during that process.
Because you know what? Everyone's labor is different. You'll hear some and they'll say, oh, a little discomfort, but a joy. And then you'll hear some that's like, I will not, never again. You know what I mean?
And that's so true, because I said the same thing. I will not, never again. And I didn't. So I truly can attest to that one. So your series that you're doing, what prompted that? What move? I know you came out of the corporate arena, you went through some things, and you've been in the arts for some time, and you feel that that's your passion.
Yes, my passion has always been in media, entertainment, and creative arts. And I feel that way because, you know, my father was a blues singer, so I grew up watching him in the arts. And then my mother, she was a preschool teacher, but she always made sure that I went to plays and, you know, was in church plays and just all of these things. So I've always just gravitated toward the arts, even in my childhood. So I knew that was something that I wanted to do as I got older, but I didn't know exactly how to go into it and you know, get about it. And the thing is when you're starting in the arts, you don't make a lot of money. And so, you know, I think my parents ultimately were worried. They were like, okay, all right, you're going to need to get you a real job with some benefits. You need some insurance, you know.
Right.
You know, and listening to them and knowing that in that aspect, yeah, okay, I guess they're right and they want the safe plan, and then just not wanting to disappoint your parents, you do just what they say do. So I went on and got, you know, the real job so I could make more money and do better for myself. And then shortly after I did that, they moved away from Chicago. They moved to Arizona, you know, because that's what they do. They tried to be cool so they can go ahead and live that good retirement life, you know. So with doing it, I felt like I would only be there a couple years. You know how you start something, you're like, oh man, I'll be here for 2 years, whatever.
Right.
Cool. But it wasn't like that. I ended up getting stuck. And being stuck allows you to get in a place where you not only become complacent, but you become a complainer, and your entire character would change because you're not happy. And even with trying to do that, I was still trying to do other things in the process. But when 8 hours of your day is taken, you know, and drained because you're working for somebody else, by the time you get to your own things, you can't really put as much of an effort and care into it as you want to because you're tired, you know. And then you're paying bills. So, yeah, before I knew it, it ended up being 10 years. And Myra, when I tell you I had an attitude, like, I remember the day they came out with that little certificate. Like, I'm trying to plant this smile on my face, but in the inside, I was like, I hold this little stupid certificate. Like, I'm mad. I've been here 10 years. You know? I've been here 20.
Yeah. 10 years is a lot of your life that you give up, not even getting the satisfaction of doing what you want. And I think we all have been down that road, and we've had to do one thing to make money and survive. And then while our passion was there, it's had a burning hole of passion, but it's not like our passion was breeding us any income at the time, because it had to be nurtured as well. But, and that's an amazing story what you're saying, because people are stuck, because they are doing something that they don't like doing.
Yeah, and they don't realize that that's what's making them angry, it's what's making them bitter, it's what's making them not happy around them doing they enjoy.
Absolutely.
They don't realize it's what's draining them. It's what's why their existence seems so mundane, because they aren't feeding, revitalizing.
Okay. Now, on your video, I saw the second video you were doing, and it talked about, I think, did it say something about relationships, and maybe you maybe were not supposed to be married?
That was,
okay. Tell me what that's about.
Well, episode 2 documents a young lady named Janelle Jacqueline and her story with divorce and faith. And so through her story, she learned that she's always wanted to be married and have a family and things like that. And she thought, for the most part, that she had met that one because she's done everything right. Go to church, you love, you pray. And then once they got married, things just didn't turn out how she initially expected. And, and not only that, she was being kind of very much mistreated within this marriage. And she talked about the struggle and the tabooness of divorce and being a woman of faith. Because a lot of times you grow up believing you are not divorced. So if I'm not the divorce, am I supposed to stay here? That. So it's a really, really through the divorce or things about it. Or just even an unhealthy relationship. Yeah. Okay. Let me see, that sounds, because I got a little bit of it. I think it came across on Twitter, what it was about, and I didn't know the plot behind it. But do you think that everybody, I know women spend a lot of time in this marriageship, or the idea of being married. Do you think that women today spend too much time in that? In wanting to be married? I think sometimes we do, but not even because of our own doing. I think it's the environment that we grow up in, especially, when you're around. I know even for my church, growing up in the Baptist church, even when I go back to visit them now because I'm in a different church, the first thing they'll ask me is, so you married yet? Because that's something that, especially with the older generation, that's what they did. They got older, they got married, they had their children, and so I think that ideology is naturally passed down through generation and generation that women, we're supposed to be married. We're not supposed to, and we're required to be married, So, I think sometimes we do fantasize about it a great deal, but I don't think it's necessarily our own fault.
Absolutely. And something we're taught, and unfortunately, in my own opinion, I don't think the men are taught that. I think they get kind of a free pass when it comes to that, which makes it unbalanced and unequal because, women basically are questioned if they're not married, and men are not questioned as much if they're not married. So it becomes a problem for them because then you push the envelope to get married.
Right.
Yeah.
They are encouraged to, become the one to I don't want to say old, but they're encouraged to live. They're encouraged to take a lot of their younger years and live and build their life the way they want it to be, and not really encouraged to get involved and find that one and build an empire together or whatever. They're not really encouraged. Encouraged in a more solo direction, whereas we're supposed to be the nurturers, the wives, and the moms. Like, how can we do that if you're telling your partners to go do that? You're absolutely correct. It kind of pushes us, and I'm glad, for someone, a young person is able to just kind of be bold about that, because, and I think that's what it takes in our communities and churches, is to be bold about what we see and how it doesn't benefit. And it has to benefit us, and not being selfish or anything, but if it benefits me, then it has to benefit
the children, if I have any, and the whole process itself.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think sometimes that's what keeps us in bondage, is not wanting to, well, I would say fear of not wanting to put those uneasy conversations about the beliefs and things we're taught on the table.
Right. And you know, relationships are difficult as it is, you know, and you do need that clarity, actually, when coming together and bringing about new ideas, because what you're doing, you're bringing a new idea to the social media platform, online platform that people can really relate with. And I think that that's why reality TV is so popular in this genre right now, is because it brings about a today's experience for people.
It does. And you know what else it does? It almost, and this can be good and bad, it almost normalizes dysfunction. Because you start to realize you're not something crazy, done something crazy, said something crazy, and you get crazy because you know you're not alone.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you said the key, it does. It normalizes dysfunction, and it's okay. It's okay to look like you look and dress like you dress and talk like you talk and still consider yourself. And then you want to get married. That just boggles my mind, that how you can equate this kind of activity and how you act. Why would you want to be a wife? I mean, you take the name. That's not what a wife is. You don't pull that kind of mentality, and that's not even what a lady is, let alone a wife. But they want to be wives. But wives don't do that. That's not what a wife is. And so I never can understand the urgency or the thrill or the want to go have this lavish wedding. And I think maybe it's just about that, being the princess for the day. But to be a wife and you do the things and say the things and act the way, it just kind of boggles my mind today to see those kind of things go on in life. But yet and still, that's a point that most women want to be a part of, is that married life.
Yeah, because that lifestyle, and especially on most of these shows, because they're married to someone who's already pretty much established, at least financially. So that person can then them the lifestyle of luxury. So yeah, that luxury definitely attracts them, and being a wife definitely attracts them, because it's about the image. It's about, even sometimes just on the average everyday level, women will floss their ring before a degree or anything else. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a man with money that can give you a lifestyle. Oh yeah, it's it. But unfortunately, like you said, it's so much dysfunction around it that it's like, why would you want those things? But the problem is just even on an everyday level, a lot of us haven't been taught, effective communication, conflict resolution, controlling your emotions and not letting anger control you. We haven't really been taught a lot of those things. We have to,
absolutely,
learn them as we get older. Some do, some don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think they don't find the need. But let me ask you this, Jenny. What about your title, Feel, Healed and Restored? And that came about from what you had gone through, correct?
It came about through what I had gone through, and also the scripture that says, how the devil's here to steal, kill, and destroy. And I know that
right.
Try to do that by any means necessary. And so I felt like my job here now is to allow God to give me the content to show people He's able to fill every hurt, fill every void, heal every hurt, and restore everything that was lost. So even when you feel like you're going through the storm of being killed, steal, and destroyed, He can come through and heal all of that, and restore it, just like He did for Job. So that's kind of where it comes from.
Okay. All right. That's pretty good. So, and how many episodes are you looking to? Is this an ongoing series that you're just gonna, are they gonna just be on YouTube, or how are you looking to kind of get the word out?
Well, this is just the pilot season, and the pilot season has a total of 7 episodes. So you'll have 7 for this season, and then I will break after this one to see what I could tweak, what I couldn't, what could kind of be changed, so on and so forth, and from there do a season 2. After I've kind of built it to where I feel like it has a substantial following or viewing, from that point I would like to expand to maybe pitching to networks and so on and so forth. So I have a lot of ideas, not only with the series, but with Fill Healing Restore as a whole. But it's all the time, it's going to take a little time, and there's a plan. So I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to, follow God in what I feel like He's putting on my heart. But as of right now, that is the plan. And, God willing, that's what will work.
Okay, great. Well, it sounds amazing. And what is your audience? What's your target audience, Jenny?
Well, again, I want it to be relatable to everyday people of all ages and ethnicities and things like that. However, most importantly, I wanted to go for non-believers to hope in God. Because believers are but we need to reach the non-believers. And I want to do that in the most relaxed way as possible. Right.
Oh, that sounds amazing. It really does. It's something that's totally needed, and to be a young person to bring about something like that is a jewel, because people just need to be practical and be real. And I like the fact that you're just being honest, and that's a big deal, being honest of where you are and how you have been through some things, not to have that bitterness, and be mad at the world, because we've all had to have a taste of life, and some folks are just bitter about that. And there's not much anybody could do about it, because it takes some soul searching and some time for them to go within themselves to fix that,
Yes.
But you have to move on from it and know that there is some sunshine somewhere. You just got to go find it.
Yeah, you got to fight for it, and I believe that.
Oh yeah.
With every blessing that we're that's destined for us, because God already has some stores for us. But there is sometimes a battle before, just like He sent Joshua to battle for the land, even though He knew already that it was going to be His. So sometimes we have to battle through, and I just don't want people to faint in the battle, even when it gets hard, even when hard isn't even the word for it. I want people to keep going, because ultimately warrior on top. That win is yours. You just got to get through it. And so I just want to continue to encourage people in that, because I tell you, it's one thing that I don't know if you've ever seen the Nina Simone documentary, not necessarily the movie, but her documentary. My friends laugh all the time, because I love Nina Simone to my heart, but I tell people all the time, I do not want to be Nina Simone, because she went through so much that by the end of her life, she was so bitter and so angry and so sad and so alone, and rightfully so, because her life had been beyond difficult, and her journey had been beyond, extreme. So I understood, but I wouldn't want to stay there and end there, because that's a sad way to go. And people, when they speak of her, if they're not speaking of her musical genius, they're speaking of her extreme attitude in ways. But if you haven't learned her history, you won't know why she ended up there. And I knew that I didn't want to stay there. And so my line is always be like, I will not be Nina Simone. I'm going to fight for you. I don't want to be like this, at any day in my life. I don't want to be there.
Yeah. And that's, and that is so important. And you have to make some sacrifices and some choices in life, and that's what it sounds like that you're saying, to let people, you have a choice, you have an option, nobody's pulling you to make you do anything. You gotta want to do it, and you gotta want to see some results in a different category, and you want to be a better person, and that should be the goal of all of us.
Right.
Yeah. As Christians, we should want to be better.
We should want to be better, and we should always, want to encourage each other to be better in the most loving way, not that spiritual elitist or judgmental way, in the most loving way. You don't want to see your brother or sister down.
Absolutely, absolutely. So where do you go, and when you go and speak, do you go speak at groups or to the school, or are they just basically young women? When you're speaking about and what you do as far as lifting women up or lifting persons up out of what they've gone through in life?
Well, for the most part, I'll go wherever I'm invited. And just to this point where I've been invited has always been like women empowerment kind of programs or Women's History Month, because I have always, and I guess that's kind of my fault because I've always started off with wanting to empower women. So, but I go anywhere I'm invited. I'm not gender specific when it comes to it, but I think maybe that's just the people that I'm supposed to gravitate to or who gravitate to me for right now. So I don't really question it. I just, roll with it and hope through it all people are able to not only capture my message, but to capture God in the midst. And that's all I want.
Yeah, and that's important, and you're free flowing with it, and you're free with what you have to give out, and that makes it fun when you're going out and you're speaking or whatever you're doing. It makes it fun that you are not, you're uninhibited, you're free flowing. It's kind of like, this is who I am. I'm not trying to be something else, and I unapologetically is what I call it. You're just being you. And people like to see, people like to see a genuine person, a practical person, a real person, and not someone who pretends to have it all together. Totally.
I do not, and there are a lot of people I admire, men and women. I love to hear them speak. I love to hear them minister, and I love to hear them, capture the crowd. But I knew, and sometimes it can be intimidating because when you feel like you're not up to par with the people that you love, it's almost like, I don't really want to just be up here speaking now. That's not really what I want to. That'd be stupid. I have to. We all have our lane, and I'm not called to do what they do, but I can do me very well. And
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, that's all God gave you was you. And so why not be the best you that you can possibly be? And I think a lot of people, especially women, we forget about that because we forget about nurturing ourselves to be better, because we're always pushing other people to be better, but not ourselves. So we never find out the best of who we are, because we're actually, especially in relationships, we're actually trying to alter someone else's thought process or someone else's change by some type of way. But I do believe that we have something within inside of us, even pushing as we pushed. There's something magnificent, amazing, and phenomenal about each one of us that God has created. So, the best me is all I'm trying to find and seek after. And that's really, really, that's enough work right there.
Yes, because that's all trying to get someone else to set you up to fail. So it's like, don't do that.
And that is so true. That is so true. Well, I'm telling you, I think what you're doing is amazing. It's good for the times that we are in. And I think that YouTube is amazing because it gives you, you a few minutes on and you're telling your story. You're talking about who you are, and people are seeing you and relating you with them as being just normal. A young woman that has worked and decided she didn't want to work and decided what her passion was, and then decided to be open and honest and true to herself. So, so it doesn't take a whole hour for a person to be inspired. I believe it just takes the right person to inspire the right person that's tuning in to you. And a lot of times we don't fit that bill on everybody, but there's always somebody that we can tune into their spirit and their heart that God puts us in place on, whether it's for a minute, Jenny, or whether it's for 10 minutes. But I think that you are truly making a difference with what you are doing with your videos. On YouTube. I think that's going to be an amazing channel as you continue to add to it.
Thank you so much. That is definitely the goal, and not only with just my own story, with everyone's story, because we all have our own story, and our own story can send someone else into what their blessing and their calling could be. I'm a total believer in that sometimes our process and pain are for the purpose of someone that's connected to us somehow, some way. It's not even all about us all the time. So, this creates.
That's so true. That is so true. That is so true. Well, I tell you, it has been a great 40 minutes here with you, my dear. I'm telling you, I'm going to be looking more and more at some of those videos. I got the first and the second episode, so I'm looking for the third to come soon. Yes. And tell everybody how they can connect with you, Jenny.
I'm always everywhere on social media under Jenny M. Christian. And if you just want to follow the blog and the series alone, you can do that on all social media outlets under the name Fill, Heal, and Restore.
Okay, great. Well, Jenny, I tell you, I want to congratulate you on what you're doing, on stepping out and what is your space, what God has allowed you here on this earth to do, and to not be afraid and unapologetic about being you. And not allowing anyone to turn you around from what you feel, because I do think that our relationship with God is a personal one, and sometimes people don't understand. It might be kind of crazy to them how we might the relationship that we might have with the God that we serve, but at the end of the day, all that matters is that you have that relationship. And you're meeting people where they are, as well as how God meets us where we are. So what would be your parting word of inspiration that you would have for our listening audience here on Source Nation?
I would, and as you get to know me, Myra, I hate cliche quotes, but this is one of my favorite ones that I always enjoy, and that's, be gentle and be kind to everyone, because you never know what they're going through. And just as leaders, let's just love on each other even more, because that can really help someone get through not only that day, but whatever storm they may be going through in their life. So let's just love on each other.
Absolutely. And that was truly well said, because you don't know what the next person is going through, and it's only beneficial to us, to you, to the world, to be able to just be that light for somebody. So I appreciate you coming on the show, and I appreciate you taking your time. I know we missed each other a couple of times, but we made it happen. And I wish all the best to you and your endeavors and what God has for you, Jenny. And I'll be tweeting at you as well.
Yes, please do. And thank you so much to you and all of Source Nation. I really, really appreciate it. It means a lot to me.
Okay, well, we thank you for being on. You have a fantastic day, dear.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There you go, my Source Nation family. We had a wonderful, exciting young lady on our show today on Can We Talk, Miss Jenny Christian, who's doing some amazing things. And please check her out on YouTube, Field, Healed, and Restored. A young lady that's been through some things and was challenged by life stuff that comes into play, but she kept going, and she learned, and that fire kind of molded her to be her. And I like that. I like that kind of spirit, because, when you go through some things, you're molded in what God has left you with to mold with. So you don't come out of that fire like everybody else. You don't come out being that person that everybody else is. You come out being something different, something stronger, something phenomenal, something amazing. So when we go through those changes in our lives, don't expect to get up. When you fall, don't expect to get up the same way. Even when you fall, you're going to get up, but you're going to get up a different person. Before I go, let me talk about wonderful sponsors, Paper to Film Productions, Revolutionary Mills, Scott's Cares Foundation, Urban Grandstand Digital, Meet My Type Matchmaking, Blend to Blend Juice Bar Boutique, Renovations, and New Covenant of Praise Worship Center. This is Myra McKnight with Can We Talk About It, and I am so glad that you allowed me to come into your space again, one more time, to give you some inspiring persons that are doing some inspiring things in life. You go and make it a wonderful day, and the word for today is amazing, and that is what you are. Thank you for tuning in to Source Nation and Can We Talk with Myra McKnight, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Hello, hello, hello. This is Myra McKnight with Can We Talk? I am so grateful and so thankful to have you all here with me today. And also, more than anything, I am grateful to have you allow me to come into your space today. We have an amazing show for you today. I have an amazing young lady who has some fire. She's spirited. She's standing on her own 2 feet. She's been through some things, but you know what? She is standing firm, and her name is Jenny Christian. She has a YouTube video and productions coming out, and it's called Healed, Healed, and Restored. And I'm looking so much forward to having that conversation with her. Just looking at what she does online is truly, truly amazing. And before I go any further, let me do this. Let me give homage to our wonderful, wonderful sponsors here. And that's Paper to Film Productions, Revolutionary Mills, Scott's Cares Foundation, Urban Grandstand Digital, Meet My Pat Matchmaking, Blend to Blend Juice Bar Boutique, Ren Ovations, and New Covenant of Praise Worship Center. We thank them so much for allowing us to be here on this platform with Source Nation family. Again, this is Myra McKnight, your powerful, wonderful, exciting, and amazing empowerment and relationship coach. I want you to be the best you can possibly be. Your work for today is amazing. You are that. Always know that, believe that, even in your darkest hour. And I don't want to say your darkest hour. I said that to my husband yesterday. Or maybe your brownest hour. Maybe it's not so dark. Maybe it's brown. Maybe it's beige. Whatever color it is, make it the best that you can possibly make it be. Don't let anybody tell you you're not amazing, because then they're telling you that God made a mistake. And we all know that that is not what God does. God does not make mistakes. So on the other side of this, on the break, I'm going to have in the studio with me Jenny Christian, amazing young lady, and we're going to talk about some of the wonderful things she's doing. And again, stay tuned, stay there, and I'll be right back.
Get at me for beats, yo.